42, and I live in the US. I'm a surgical first assistant, so that means I work in operating rooms every day, and I enjoy it, but it is a hard job. So let's talk about some of my passions and interests. I have a wide variety of hobbies. I love bowling. I started off as a child. My dad got me into it, so I kind of come from a family of bowlers. I was a little ballerina and tap dancer as a little girl, so I do love to dance, and I still love to dance till this day. I mean, you can find me hopping around in my kitchen or dancing around to an African beat or singing and dancing my head off in the car in traffic when people are looking at me, and it doesn't bother me one bit. I enjoy what I'm doing. I love art, so I've always kind of had this natural desire to be a creator. So I love making things with my hands. I like do-it-yourself projects. I love interior decorating. I love doing hair. I love sketching fashion designs. I'm currently working on some swimsuits because I would love to see those come to fruition and walk down a runway someday. And it is the Thanksgiving season, so I love crafty things. My newest project I'm working on are centerpieces for my mom's Thanksgiving table. And this is what it's looking like. It's almost done. So I find that when I'm able to be a creator, it solves two problems for me. One, gets me out of my headspace because I've always been told that I'm too much of a thinker, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But being crafty and doing hobby-related things gives me an outlet, and I can channel that energy or that tension or that anxiety and turn out some beautiful pieces. So that's really cool. I love fashion and modeling. I got into it. I had my first taste of fashion modeling and runway in high school at our prom fashion show. And from that moment on, I was like, hey, I really enjoy this. So it's no surprise that I keep dabbling in fashion and modeling and all that stuff, even at this stage of the game. So let's get into my story. I'm a military veteran's daughter, so I'm pretty proud of that. I really have a respect for all the people who have served or are currently serving, so thank you all. You are not forgotten about. We love you, and we pray for your safety. So some of my journey up until now has involved the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the good has been good, the bad has been bad, and the ugly has been very ugly. I've endured probably 9 surgeries at this point, and one of my most significant surgeries was just a month ago. So I'm literally only 4 weeks out of having tumor removal surgery, and that was a pretty emotional time for me and not the easiest recovery. But here I am still trying to move beyond it and have that diehard spirit that I've always had, because I know that I'm not the only one going through things. And so it's very empowering to see people who are struggling with health conditions, who are still finding their smile and finding a way to continue regardless of what they're going through. I was in a car accident years ago and ended up with a broken neck. So you would know that I walk around with plates and screws in my neck every day. And so I struggle with chronic pain. And as a result of that, the way that I manage it is being able to have holistic medicine, because I don't like taking a lot of pills. So I turn that into more natural remedies of acupuncture and seeing a chiropractor, and that really helps me kind of manage it, because chronic pain, for anybody who's been through it, can really affect how you feel and your mood, and things like that even can contribute to depression. And while I'm on the subject of depression, that's also something that I think even if we're not clinically labeled as being depressed, I think we all have struggled with feeling down. And, you know, depending on your circumstances, you're trying to figure out what to do to get on the other side of that. So some of my depression came from health issues, and some of my depression came from emotionally abusive relationships. And there was a time that I even got to a dark place, and I'm so thankful that I was able to have people there for me, because not everybody is able to come back from that dark place. So I feel very grateful to be on the other side of that. So I do have a heart for people who are struggling with mental health and depression, because it's a real thing. I've experienced some tragic loss. I lost a boyfriend to gun violence, and 2 people close to me to suicide. So it's one of those things that you never know what people are going through by looking at them. So it's really important to be kind and show some compassion. Accomplishments. Let's get back on a happy note. Accomplishments. I've raised a great child as a single mother, so I'm pretty proud of that. I'm a published author, which is pretty cool. I've had some poetry published, and I just love being able to put things out in the world that are going to help raise awareness on things and inspire, or just be a way for people to relate to things and know that they're not by themselves. Another huge thing that happened for me, we all know about the whole George Floyd thing that happened, and I had my own experience with being involved in a hate crime that made national news. Very uncool experience. Again, my faith was tested, emotional roller coaster, but everything that I've gone through has served a purpose. And so while all of that was going on last year, and me being a minority in healthcare, I was approached with an opportunity to be a contributor and speak about the racism and discrimination that some of us may have or have in fact endured in the healthcare industry. And so an article came out that I was able to participate in, and I ended up actually making it on the cover. So this is me using my platform to be the change I want to see in the world. And it's important that we have these conversations regardless of how uncomfortable they are, because that's also something where we need to be mindful about what people are going through, and be inclusive in all of those areas. So I think that the Fashion Hero TV series is also bringing light to breaking down these stereotypes and these walls that you have to look a certain way to be this, which is not true. We shouldn't be putting limitations on anybody. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I was a self-taught wig maker, and that came about because one of my daycare providers was diagnosed with breast cancer, and for 15 years I worked at Children's Hospital, and I saw so many kids suffering with things, and it tears you up. And so I even wanted to see how I could help, and was able to make wigs for cancer patients. And I tell you, it's just one of the greatest joys to be able to bring some sort of smile back to faces of people who are going through some of the toughest times in their life. So, aspirations. I aspire to be a fashion designer. I kind of dabble in making food products, and I hope that I can launch a couple businesses and finish a poetry book and get it published, And I've played around with some design patterns, so it'd be really cool to see something like that come to fruition as well. What drives me? Being told no, being told I can't do something. How do you know what I can do? I don't even know until I try. So I just have that spirit of, you're going to go for this no matter what, because you never want to live with regrets. So this is another one of those times where I want to be in the room, because I don't know what's going to happen, but I would love a chance to push beyond my fears and push beyond what people think I can do and see what I actually can do. What makes me unique? I feel like I just have this natural ability to be a chameleon. I can kind of ebb and flow whenever I need to, which is pretty cool. And, you know, sometimes I think it's better to ask people close to you about what your best characteristics are or what they think makes you unique. So I opened up that question to some friends of mine who know me best, because it's nice to hear what they have to say, because sometimes they see you in ways that you don't see yourself. So I'm just going to read a few responses from some of my friends. What makes Ari unique is that I don't let myself get comfortable. I challenge myself to learn as many new things and try new things as possible. One of my friends says that I'm a natural leader, and that I inspire those around me to never settle. I fire on all sides of my brain. And when I put my mind to something, I usually will see it through. My fiance says, you're a go-getter. You've always been determined, and you don't let obstacles get in your way, and you have a big heart. You're sincere and not phony, another friend says, and you have God-given confidence. So all of those comments and feedback really mean a lot to me, because I truly try to have good relationships with everybody I come in contact with. And there's a saying that says something like, if you can't help someone, at least don't hurt them. So I feel like there's something to learn from everybody, and I try to meet people where they are and be a good friend, be a good listening ear, share my knowledge if there's some way that I can help them. And those are the things that I find very important. My grandmother drives me. Unfortunately, I lost her at the age of 9, and she was my first experience with fashion design. She made my dresses for school. She made my mom's wedding dress. But that was my first experience with grief. And little did I know that that would be a void that has been huge for me even now. I realized that my desire for fashion and modeling, I think that comes from her. She knew me before I knew myself. So this journey would mean a lot to me, because that loss has bothered me for a long time. And the only way that I feel like I can connect with her anymore is through fashion. When I'm on the runway or when I'm designing, I feel like that's her coming through. She's with me. And even right now, I feel like she's telling me, don't you dare miss this opportunity. If you want it, go for it, baby girl, because I'm with you and I'm proud of you. So I really want to be a part of the Fashion Hero TV series, because it's such an empowering movement. And, you know, I'm a bit of a boundary pusher. I'd like to get into that good necessary trouble that John Lewis talks about. I wear white after Labor Day because I like white. So anytime I have a chance to be involved with something that can bring about change, I want to be in the room.